what can Brown do for you? That's our thumbnail for this segment, by the way. The first one of them is the UPS driver strike, potentially with the Teamsters. They voted on an action, and it's now gotten to a point where even Reuters, the narrative managers of the corporate establishment news, can't ignore it any longer. So that's exciting to see. But this is actually an article written for Left Voice by a striking rank and file UPS worker activist named Greg Kerwood. And he says we must strike. Right, so that with a little over a month left in what could be the most significant labor battle in decades, UPS workers across the country are preparing to strike. Here we republish a message shared by a militant worker on the necessity of a strike. So this was published a couple days ago. Okay, so this is a great article, or a letter that was published in the lead up. All right, 340,000 UPS workers on August 1st. So they voted for strike action now, like overwhelmingly. I think it was 97%. So toward that end, with his permission, we're republishing a message from Greg Kerwood, who's a UPS driver, member of the Teamsters, that originally appeared on the UPS Teamsters 2023 contract group on June 17th, generated considerable debate. Brother Kerwood, just like sounds like Cornel West wrote that, initiated. Well, it's the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, I know. He initiated the Facebook group, which is now ballooned to over 12,600 members. So at Left Voice, we at Left Voice open our pages to UPS workers across the country as they prepare themselves for this potential historic strike. I need to share my screen with Reef so he can see it. I just realized.
Yep.
So, hold on. Screens. There we go. Sorry, everybody. We're doing it live. Okay. So he says that it's become almost cliche to say that nobody wants. Oh, dude, it's become almost. Come on, I didn't want everyone to know that I was going to be doing that, but it has become almost cliche to say that nobody wants to strike, as if it were somehow uncouth to stand up for one's humanity without a qualifier. But wanting a strike is truly not the question. The question is rather, do we need a strike? And the answer is an unequivocal yes. What was that? We need a strike to unite our members at UPS and our Teamsters Union as a whole. We need a strike to create a generation of militant unionists whose education will be the picket line and whose graduation will be the launch of a new labor movement. We need a strike to create the bonds that hold labor together, that unite workers, those that can only be forged in the furnace of workplace action. We need a strike to energize the entire labor movement, to show workers what they can stand, that they can stand up, that they can fight back, that they can win. We need a strike to remind corporations of the world just who generates the record profits they enjoy every year after year. Ending this fight at UPS without striking, even with a good contract, would be the labor equivalent of a tie ball game. We as Teamsters, and speaking on behalf of Greg here, should not be playing for a tie. We should be playing to win. Surely no one believes this company will be taught a lesson or change its behavior without us withholding our labor. If the company is acquiescing to many of our demands out of fear of a job action and loss of billions, if they're feeling the heat of a potential strike, then we must push further. I love this. The time has come to finally address the issue which underlies all others at UPS, and its power. Are we going to continue to be owned by this company each day, forced to labor until our Lord and Master sees fit to let us go? Or are we going to have control over when and for how long we sell our labor? I say the latter. Until we have a finite workday, both part-time and full-time, we will continue to be at the mercy of this company, and our jobs will continue to dominate our lives. This is not asking for the world. It's simply asking that our employer recognize our humanity. Recognize that we rest and need time to recover. Recognize that we have families and lives outside of work. Recognize that personal time is not a gift, but a basic human right. And until we have this, we must strike. So make no mistake, striking a multi-billion-dollar corporation is not for the faint of heart. It requires strength, commitment, and a willingness to sacrifice in the short term for long-term gain. But I know of no workforce more suited to this task than the men and women who give their blood, sweat, and toil to this company day after day, despite being consistently treated as replaceable cogs in a big brown profit-making machine. So the answer is simply this. If you want to change your workplace and your life, if you want to organize Amazon, if you want to empower workers everywhere to join a union and fight back against the abuses of their employer, if you want to swing the pendulum of power away from corporations and back toward the working class, then we must strike. History is made by those who attempt the impossible, who fight the unwinnable, and who believe the unbelievable, who ignore the voices of the naysayers, the pundits, the experts. This is our time to make history, to right the wrongs of the last 4 decades, and to return the rewards of labor to those who create them. If you want your workplace, your life, your community, and your country to be better tomorrow than they are today, we must strike. In solidarity, that's Greg Kerwood, and that's fucking awesome. And that guy drives a UPS truck. I love it. I can't.
So does our buddy Joe, right?
Joe, INN's Joe, is a member of the UPS Brotherhood of Teamsters.
I think Jimmy worked at UPS, he was saying.
He might have.
Jimmy Dore.
And they voted to strike, by the way. Joe voted. Joe voted to strike.
Let's see if the other Joe decides to let a strike happen. Let's see.
So, not only, it's at the point where even corporate media can't ignore it, to the point where you've got Reuters. They don't want to report on this, right? But what they're saying is UPS workers authorize a strike, seen as leverage for pay talks, right? They think that they're bluffing. They think that they're just using this for leverage. Okay, so this was a June 16th story, has been corrected to fix the date of the contract expiration, which expires at the end of July, I believe. Yep, on July 31st, right? So UPS employees voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike should contract talks break down after the current agreement ends on midnight, July 31st. 340,000 workers, of which 97% of voting members approved the strike authorization, giving the union maximum leverage to win demands at the bargaining table. Right? So UPS again said it's confident the two sides will reach an agreement. UPS shares fell as much as 1.5% after the news, but quickly pared losses down to 0.6% midday trades because they have a feeling, the market feels like they're going to always crush the workers, so that doesn't really affect them very much. Not only that, but these companies are still wildly profitable even when they increase the pay of their employees. By the way, they can well afford to pay the money that these drivers are seeking. And they're looking for stability.
Show them the money.
Show me the money. So there is money out there to pay for the increase, like he said, adding that the lift would not be crazy or stressful or drastic to UPS. And he's right, because there is precedent for significant wage increases. Railroad workers got a 24% increase. Unions and FedEx reached a deal for a 30% pay raise. Now, that's a 30% pay raise, and a one-time hero bonus over at the port workers for the West Coast. That's great. We were working basically Christmas hours for 2 years straight, which is terrible. But they get what they pay for, said UPS. Said adding that company delivery drivers who make about $150,000 annually, including base pay and benefits for overtime, earn it. Yeah, and they earn it with their bodies too. It's not just about the money. It's about their physical health. It's about the amount of time they have to spend in those hot boxes, which maybe finally, hopefully, might get air conditioning sometime in the future, maybe. They say.
Well, there's a documentary done. I want to see documentary. It was a video done about those particular trucks and how it's a problem. The entire truck's a problem because it's like the U.S. mail system ordered them like a long time ago, and they're still in service, and like they don't compensate for the heat and like of any component, like let alone the box of metal that it is.
Yeah.
You know, like. So
Terrible.
everything's failing. They're falling apart. Infrastructure's dying.
Terrible.
And who's taking whose blood's paying for that? Ours. So
we're paying for it in blood.
But that's what Brown can do for you. So
out of our friends out of Left Voice, and I think I dropped that Left Voice is an Indie Media Award honoree. Hey, we created an award to showcase and honor, thank you, sir, to showcase and honor some of these great outlets and content creators and writers and journalists and live streamers. I know that Jimmy Dore hates the word live streamers, YouTubers, podcasters. I don't know what the hell you want to call us all, but we make a ton of stuff. And I just feel like podcaster is just inferior because we make clips and do all kinds of other stuff too. But anyway, so that was out of Left Voice.